Put your thumbs high like this because I can't see you because of the record is. Do it now. So,
Welcome to A to Z with Ali and Zilla, where we take you from real world challenges to practical solutions.
From mindset and manifestation to culture, community, and building better systems burn. This isn't just talk.
Let's get into it.
Right. We are back with another A to Z. It's Rodzilla and Oh Younger Ali. Man, on this show, we hit everything. Just two friends, two Marines, chopping it up, talking about whatever life has presented us. What's good, my guy? What's up, man?
oh man, life is so good, man. It's feels so good. The summertime is good. We're planning our vacations, going on a couple cruises, maybe, possibility, taking the family out before they get too much into their own life. Everybody's going to college and stuff. So we're dealing with a lot of joy right now. So yeah, it's good for the summer.
That's awesome, man. Awesome, man. We got a great show lined up today, talking about sleep and cannabis. Two big subjects, man. We all have to sleep. A lot of people are using cannabis. I know the numbers have been going up the past decade or so. Everybody's getting involved with it from all the medicinal benefits. But you wanted to talk about some not so great benefits of marijuana and maybe some shadiness going on in the industry out there.
Oh yeah, most definitely, most definitely. Um, and if we're gonna jump into that, we can jump into that right now.
I mean,
Um,
um,
huh?
I mean, if you want to chat a little bit before we jump into it, we're gonna dive deep. So, I mean, what's up? What's on your mind?
Oh, nothing. Just loving it, loving it. So
Okay, all right.
we can go ahead and get into it. Now, I was thinking like a long. This was a long time ago. This is not a long time ago, but in the early teens of 2000. You know, 2013 through 16, somewhere around there. I don't know if y'all guys remember, if y'all Facebook watchers, or even you, Rod, when we was on Facebook, and I kept getting a lot of videos of people with like in their house, in their homes, with pounds and pounds of marijuana on you. I mean, on Facebook
You talking
Live.
about since they made legalize it in most states, or just like
No, before. This is like 2013, 2014, 15, 16.
okay,
They was having all kinds of weed in their house. I'm like, how come they're doing this on, Facebook? Why are they allowing this? How are these people getting away with this stuff? So, I was researching and everything. During that time, I really couldn't find anything except for knowing the fact that they're trying to make it legal, right? So
yeah.
then when they did make it legal, when they did make marijuana legal, um, I was happy for it. I don't smoke, but I was happy. You know, I used to smoke, but I'm like, at least this way, a lot of people won't be going to jail for something that's really, in my opinion, uh, something petty. So anyway, I started smelling the marijuana. I was smelling it, and I was like, wait a minute. I know because they when they opened up the stores, I wanted to go see. And then when I see they had OG Kush, cotton candy, strawberry, banana flavored. What's that? They had Skittles, just all different types of flavors of marijuana, different grades. With the THC level sevens all the way up to 20, 28s and stuff. And now I guess they got it beyond that, whatever those numbers are. OG Kush and all these other things. And I'm like, we're down here in Vegas, and you could smell marijuana everywhere. But I was like, this smells kind of chemically,
Can
and we're
can you smoke marijuana anywhere, like in Vegas, like on the streets?
No, you're not supposed
You're
to.
not you're not
Not
supposed to.
supposed
Okay.
to. It's more like you can have it, but if you're smoking, you have to be in a place that allows you to smoke. And
Okay.
you can't smoke and drive, just like you can't drink and drive, stuff like that. You know what I mean? You can't go to the park, and you know how some people used to go to the park and brown bag it.
Yeah.
You get in trouble when they say, "Let me look inside that bag. What is it?" You know. So you same thing with marijuana. What are you smoking? You can't be smoking out here because it's a public place. You got children that walk through the public place, even if it's at nighttime. He's not able to do it. But so I'm sitting here smelling it, and I'm like, how come all the marijuana with all these different flavors smell exactly the same? You know, because I remember when I was smoking back in Ohio, um, when I was younger, before the Marine Corps, of course. Uh, we would go into a party, and the party would be like, oh yeah, somebody be already in there, and they have some chocolate tie, and you could smell the chocolate tie as soon as you walked in the, and you knew what it was because it had its own scent. And then you'd be like, oh, somebody else come in and be like, yo, you got that tie, dude? I got that evergreen right now, you know, and they fire that evergreen. So you sitting there,
Yeah.
you got some chocolate tie burning, and then you got somebody with some evergreen burning, and it's like, okay, okay. And but you can still smell the chocolate tie and the
No
evergreen. Then
distinction
you
between the two. Okay.
right, and then you got somebody come in because everybody had their own flavors, what they liked, or even what they could get in during a specific time, or who they was getting it from. You know, their dealer. So somebody else would come in with some skunk, and that was pretty big, pretty big because it had this real pungent, a real pungent smell, and people was loving to get high off of it. So people would come in with this, but you could still smell. Sometimes they would mix, but if you would go to that part of the house or wherever it's smoking, you could smell it. And it never really mixed to where it was the same freaking smell. You know what I mean? And then somebody can come in with some Archie Bunker. And that to me, that's that dirt weed. And you can be like, hey man, put that trash out. You're killing the whole ambiance and whatever, right? But nowadays, you
I
you
didn't know
can't.
Archie Bunker had a strain. You know, I was just thinking about that TV show. I just gotta stop for a minute. Archie
Yeah,
Bunker, like,
well, nah, it was just
it's a
it
name.
was
I
just
get it.
yeah.
I knew he was famous and all, but I didn't know he had like branded some marijuana.
Well, I think it was more of the slang term for something bad,
Yeah.
bunk. You know,
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
bunk weed, so we just call it Archie Bunker or the helmet weed because it gave you a headache because you put all the seeds in it. Whatever. Anyway, I'm not a weed
Okay.
connoisseur.
All
I don't know about this stuff, right? So I'm sitting there, and here, matter of fact, I'm gonna show you guys something real quick. What
yeah.
I what I
Show
what
us
I
something.
did
Show us
last
something.
night. Let me find this. But that made me start thinking of of what's really going on with this weed, you
With the
know,
smells and all that. Yeah.
with the
Okay.
smells. And you know, from the last time we spoke, we was talking about auto smile, right? Um, so I looked into the chemicals. This is a long time ago. I don't have that information right now. But here, I'll get into that. I'll get into that in a second. If you want to look up, I looked up this thing called on Google. I said Bayer and Monsanto's talk about the cannabis industry, right? And
Yeah.
where's my share button? Oh man, I can't find it. Here we go. I gotta stretch this out a little bit more. Okay, here we go. So I'm gonna share my screen a little bit. Back over here, just so we can see what I'm saying, and I'll make the points later. Can you see this right here?
Yeah.
The so I
Yeah.
it's the
Little
screenshot.
Google box.
Yeah, it's the screenshot from it, and this screenshot says this is what I typed into Bear, right? I mean, into the Google thing. It says uh, Bayer and Monsanto's talk about cannabis industry. It says neither Bayer nor Monsanto's currently has an active um, official has an active, officially announced strategy to enter the global cannabis industry. Historically, corporation actions and statements from the company indicate they are proceeding with an extreme caution and waiting for clear federal legalization, whatever, right? So
Yeah.
now, just I want to show this really quick. So it says that they really haven't, and they was waiting. So you got Bayer Monsanto's. You can still see that, right?
Yeah, Bayer
Uh,
Monsanto merger and a potential future for cannabis farm. When?
Here, look at the date. Look at the date. Look at
October 2016.
okay.
Uh-oh.
Here. Look at this one. This is
Monsanto.
this is
All right.
Monsanto's, and it says 2013. Right now, check this out.
So, okay. So,
Bayer and
Google trying to
Monsanto's
pull a
created.
fast one on us.
Oh yeah, 100%. They got the money to hide what they're talking about, right? And you look at the dates, 2016, right? So,
And that first screen you pulled up with the Google picture, that was what, yesterday?
oh, oh yeah. This one right here,
Yeah.
this was my search yesterday. You can search that right now and see what it says in yours. But they said they never had a clear thing, a clear what to say?
Never had a clear strategy to
Yeah,
enter the global man.
and
Maybe they don't
and
got
I
a strategy, but
and I have some information that I'm not able to say exactly where I got it from, but I brought up the part about when they were. I want to unshare. I want to stop sharing right
you
now.
using alien tech, bro? You can't tell us you got alien tech going
No,
on? I don't know.
It's just don't worry
That's
about
all good.
it. So I brought up the just so
Right.
that you can remember the Facebook stuff, right?
Yeah.
When they was pushing out those videos of people having all the weed, talking about they got the weed, they selling the weed and all this other stuff, and they weren't getting in trouble. So what they were doing was this was Monsanto's. Monsanto's had grown thousands and thousands of plants and selling and giving it to the people in California. They were giving it to the people in California.
They were
So
giving them marijuana plants. Is that what
no,
you're saying?
not just the plants, but just pounds and pounds of weed. They was giving it to them so that they can start selling it, so that they can see if their product would be able to sell because
Okay.
of
All right.
you know
See if people
and
liked it, whatever. Like some samples, some free samples.
exactly, but it was pounds and pounds, so they needed a broad thing. That's when Bear got involved, right? Because there's like, yeah, we can sell this weed even though it has that chemical. That and going back to that chemical is the same chemical that's in the marijuana right now that was found in the chicken, the church's chicken that made men and women sterile. It's the same chemical.
What's the
So
name of the chemical?
I forgot. I forgot it, but we can look it up. There's a chemical. There's a chemical that was there that made men and women sterile. So what I am saying is, yeah, um, they tried to hide that they collaborated with the marijuana in the marijuana. And we talk about controls all the time, how they try to control people.
I got to ask you a question before you go into
Yeah,
control because I remember being in high school or whatever, and people would joke about marijuana, which I don't know what people got weed from back when I was in high school. I just know people had it on the streets because it's high school kids. Where they got it from, where it came from, but people would joke about having a low sperm count because you smoke too much weed. Even back then, we're talking 20, 30 years ago, is that just a natural product of marijuana itself, or are you saying that it's just the chemicals that's doing it now in the new
well,
marijuana? Because I remember people used to joke about it, and you were saying earlier how marijuana used to have a different smell, so maybe it was less chemicals. Is maybe it's a combination of both.
that I will agree and say that it is a combination of both. It already did lower sperm counts, just like cigarettes. Cigarettes did.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember those commercials. when they was giving them to kids, and they was like, "You're cool," and then all of a sudden the cigarette would go like this,
Oh, what? No, I never
you know.
saw I never saw that commercial, man.
Oh man, I see. No, that's a whole different conversation. But
We have to
yeah,
come back to cigarettes next time.
yeah, and I saw that from a different angle as well. Anyway, so uh, yeah, I think it's a combination of both, but one is more. Once Monsanto's got involved with the growth of marijuana plants, with not so much the distributing it, but once they got involved with that industry, they changed the marijuana. We already know Monsanto's is a GMO company, right? They GMO everything. That's part of their niche. And they got with the medical company, Bayer. Remember the Bayer aspirin, a pharmaceutical company. Uh, that's the company who they are dealing with. So now it's not just medical marijuana. That is what I believe their cover, their smoke, their mirrors. Uh, it is a way to control, makes people docile, makes people say, oh, it makes you think, but it makes you inactive. It makes people inactive towards bigger things because now I'm smoking weed. Yeah, that's the thing. Let me just still go ahead and chill. You know, I want to relax. I'm not ready to go out here and start a war. I can talk about it all day, but to actually, and I can think deep about it all day, but to actually
All
get
kind
up
of
and go do
strategies,
something about
right?
it, you
All
know,
kind of war strategies, man.
right,
I mean, I mean, that is right because I mean, I know personally, I've experienced, alcohol makes you want to get out and do more crazy things than marijuana for sure.
for sure.
You're most likely just gonna, kick back, relax, watch a movie, tell some jokes, eat some snacks, and you're not gonna go get in a fight with all those carbs in your stomach. You're gonna take a nap. That's coming up next, right?
Right. So yeah, there is a money aspect on it. Yeah, like so they can corner the market, but they're hiding themselves. So there is some sort of monopoly going on. We just don't know about it. It's still too early because it's just legalized and it's not legalized federally. Once it gets legalized federally, then we'll start seeing um, everything kick in. But you
You
still
think
got to
that's gonna
remember,
happen? The federal legalization?
I,
Is that something you've been looking into?
I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it will be. I don't know if it does become federal. I feel that we still need to watch out for it more. We need to watch out and start doing more studies on the marijuana. But the reason why I say I don't think it needs to be because this corporation that is in control of it, because they did say that Bayer bought out Monsanto's. Bayer pharmaceutical company bought out a GMO company that deals with all the fertilizers of the crops, and food is a pharmaceutical. It is a foods are drugs. They heal you. So if they taking
Or
control,
hurt you, no doubt.
yeah,
Have
yeah.
some side
If
effects.
if they're taking over that process, they're in control of the health. 100%. Because Bayer did have contracts with the government. I mean, excuse me, Monsanto's did. Because if you remember, Monsanto's was putting out, this is during Obama, Monsanto's was putting out a lot of GMO foods. And Obama said, hey, look, you have to let them know uh, that it's a GMO. And I believe during that time, in the early parts of Obama, they did not have to, or it was either Bush. I don't remember the times, but I'm pretty sure if you had any parts or thoughts in this, that there was a time where they took off the ingredients. They didn't have to put all the ingredients that was on in foods on the labels. And then Obama at the close to the end of his term, she said, "Okay, you have to add all. You have to let everybody know if it's GMO or not, whatever, whatever, right?" And then Monsanto's changed. I was working for the USDA at this time. Monsanto said made it to where uh, you can say naturally grown. You can grow GMO food naturally because the seed is GMO. Just grow it naturally. You know what I mean? So they figured
Yeah.
out a way to change the way it's written to make people to fool people and not let them know that is GMO. You know, so during that time, there was a trick involved to get people to think something totally different than what it is, and it's a control issue. So once it gets to the federal government, I really feel it's over for a lot of people because again, like I said, the autosomal, that's the what I call the generational. It's a generational disease. People start getting it loaded into their system, loaded in, and they can keep on spreading this new variant to their own personal DNA until 5 generations, and then it actually takes hold because all the generations keep on adding to this uh, buildup inside of their DNA or whatever they pass on to the next generation, which will cause some kind of defects in something. And I believe it is a form of population control, not just to make us docile, but to make us sterile. They've been doing this for a long time as far as having control. And the way, let me go ahead and get this because you have a wonderful topic too that can help fight this situation as well. Um, a way to beat this, and it's not for lazy people. A way to beat this is grow your own marijuana. In most places where marijuana is legal, and even if it's only medical marijuana, you can grow a certain number of your own plants. You can have a certain number of plants, grow your own. You know what kind of chemicals are going on it. You know everything about the plant. You know, grow it, smoke it how you want to. But that way it'll keep you safe. It'll keep your family safe. It'll keep your bloodline safe. And it's not a scare tactic. Do what you want. I don't smoke. So, but
Yeah.
I'm just here giving out information that I know is real. You've seen where
Yeah.
even they have it in Google where they're trying to hide the connection, right? Oh, they were never in talks. They were. They and they set it up. How could they have so many videos of people with pounds and pounds of marijuana? That's illegal. That's illegal. And they're talking about selling it. And this is before AI, the video changes and all that stuff. This was real. People were actually selling marijuana in pounds and pounds on over Facebook, you know. So and showing pounds and pounds of marijuana. So just keep your ears open, keep your nose open, stay
And
invested.
we kind of talked on that a lot about how um growing your own food, growing your own plants. In this case, if you're into marijuana, see if you could grow it yourself. That seems to be a solve for a lot of the issues going on. Just getting back to that more natural state of knowing where your food and how your food is produced as
Yeah,
best you can, as best you can. It seems common sense, but I think we've talked about in multiple occasions how we've kind of lost the desire and the knowledge and the wherewithal to do that because it's a lot of work, and that is we've kind of traded the convenience of having things for and giving up the control of how our food and everything is produced. But it can be detrimental, and in this
yeah.
case, it sounds like it is, man.
It
Um,
really is, and especially because it's marijuana. It's a drug that people are
yeah,
using for recreation and always have used for recreation. So,
yeah,
yeah,
and medicinal benefits always have been used for that too.
yeah,
And it starts to get into like when you started talking earlier about the THC levels getting higher and higher and higher. Um, and that's a slight subtle form of overconsumption or in a different way, like it's making it more potent, which makes it probably more addictive, which makes it probably less medicinal in a sense, because it's all about the dosage when it comes to medicinal versus recreational versus trying to get high as you can. So it's all about the dosage, and that's a subtle way of giving someone more than what they actually need, which is a slight form of overindulgence uh, in a kind of a roundabout way.
right,
So yeah, so maybe our ancestors used it, but it was not as potent, so it wasn't as addictive. It was more medicinal. So yeah, man, a lot to be aware of. A lot to be aware of
yeah,
in
most
that business,
definitely,
man. Sure.
most definitely. And you got your Snoop Dogs and your Cheech and Chongs and your Willie Nelsons out there that the government never really spanked. They just glorified them on their marijuana smoking. You know what I mean?
Okay, I remember Snoop Dogg doing this thing. Willie Nelson too, huh?
Yeah. Cheech and Chong, they had movies.
Yeah, yeah, they had the
Up in Smoke. All the movies had marijuana in it. So
no
I'm
doubt.
just saying,
Was that early '90s, right? Or was that earlier than '90s?
it could have been earlier than 90s. I was
Yeah, it
watching it when
might
I
be
was
early '90s.
younger. So yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. Cheech and
So
Chong.
anyway,
Funny. Oh man. I mean, it kind of segues into the next topic, man, because a lot of people use cannabis to go to sleep or to sleep better. So it's kind of just funny how these topics that we want to talk about line up, and we don't even discuss it before we do it, right? We just
right.
kind of go with the flow. But sleep is important, man. We want to talk a little bit about sleep. Everyone has to sleep. The question is how much? What did other generations prior to us? How did they sleep? What affected their sleep? I didn't really realize sleep was such a important thing because when you're young, you just go to sleep, right? You generally sleep well. You don't have much stress on going on. And in my late 20s, early 30s, I happened to work in an age management clinic where most of our patients there were 50 to about 75-ish, give or take, a couple of years. But that was the first time I realized that people were really having trouble with sleep. And as I've gotten older, my sleep habits have gone in and out. Sometimes I get 8, but majority of my life, I've only slept about 5 to 6 hours per night, and that seems to do well. But most of the studies say we need 7 to 8 hours of sleep. So I was jumping around on my Instagram a couple of weeks ago, maybe a week and a half ago, and this post came up about how 8 hours of sleep was an invention, created by the industrial revolution to get people to fall into this uh, what do you call it? Habit of getting 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of work, 8 hours of kind of downtime in order to keep the factories and stuff like that going. So that's where I wanted to jump off this topic, man. What do we really need in that? And this social reformer by the name of Robert Owen, he popularized the slogan 8 hours of labor, 8 hours of recreation, 8 hours of rest as part of the movement for better working conditions and the labor industry back in the early, well, 1800s. And that's certainly bled over into the time we're in now. Um, but there was another guy, Robert Eckhart, who documented evidence that people pre-industrial times in Europe commonly practiced first sleep, where they would go to sleep for a couple of hours, and then they wake up in the middle of the night and maybe meditate, read, write, do something creative, whatever it may be, and then they would have uh, a second sleep. So which one is right, man? Do we need 7 to 9 hours, or do we need this more biphasic sleep to help us be more healthy? And we're always talking about on this show, how can we be better as humans? What kind of things help? So sleep falls into that category of, what can we do if we can get really good sleep? Is there something to this biphasic sleep? Would that be better for humans? I don't
Well,
know. So we want to explore the topic.
yeah, I do. I'm really curious about this because I in my household, my wife is a school teacher, and she does believe in the idea of 8 hours of sleep is necessary. Eight
Okay.
full hours of sleep, and that's what the school system preaches or pushes forward. So I and in the service, in the military service, people function great without 8 hours of sleep. You know what I mean? Um, so it, for me, I don't agree with 8 hours of sleep. I'm more so in the idea of we do need sleep. Sleep is very, very important. However, if you get 4 hours from 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. till 4 p.m. and then busting your butt and then go back to sleep at 12 or 10 p.m. till 2 a.m. You know what I mean? If you're breaking it
Yeah.
up, but you do get some sleep, then that's fine as well, you know?
Yeah. No doubt. And a lot of it too, is going to vary from person to person. I know historically in my own life, I sleep anywhere from 5 to 7 hours of sleep, somewhere in there. Most of my life has been 5.5, and I tend to function well. I know just watching my wife, she's not going to function well with 5 hours of sleep. She's going to wake up tired. Um, so I'm usually rolling out of bed an hour or so earlier than she does on the weekends, especially. So it is some individual, I guess, sweet spot of what everybody really needs. But it's important to figure out, like, how much you sleep because we know sleep deprivation can lead to all other types of things. Your hormones can get thrown off.
Right.
Your body recovers well at night. It's one of the, it can lead to, circadian rhythms thrown off. Cognitive processes can slow if you don't get a lot of sleep. So, what is that sweet spot? And I dug into it a little bit because it's the Instagram post that I saw. People post all kind of crazy stuff on Instagram, like it's
Okay.
the facts. You know what I mean? Like, they created 8 hours of sleep. Stop doing it. So I wanted to dig into it a little bit. I mean, that's what they'll say, right? Like,
Yeah, I believe it. I'm on those things because look, Trey, how you in the jungle sleeping 8 hours when there's animals running around trying to eat you? you
yeah,
know,
right. Yeah,
it,
you can't be sleeping 8 hours, man. That's
nah,
easy prey right there.
exactly.
So I dug into it a little bit, and I found this scientist in 1992, Dr. Thomas Ware from the National Institute of Mental Health. He took some volunteers and he wanted to set up this pre-industrial revolution type uh, sleep pattern. So instead of the modern hours of 16 hours of light and 8 hours of darkness, he had the people with 10 hours of light and 14 hours of darkness. And this was kind of the to set up a pattern that was pre-industrial because once the industrial revolutions took off, we started having more electricity, we have started having more artificial light, we started doing things like daylight savings time, which affect circadian rhythms and everything like that. I mean, it's weird here in Oregon, man. I moved here from Vegas, and when I got here, even though we're in the same time zone, it gets dark almost an hour later here at night in the summertime than it does in Vegas.
Okay.
So we were outside and it's like 9:45 at night and it's still daylight. I was in bed the other day, it's 10 o'clock, and it's still almost like daylight, which is crazy. And then the sun comes up at 4. So anyway, he set up 10 hours of light, 14 hours of darkness. And he found that the people started sleeping in subjects naturally stopped sleeping in one continuous block. And they started sleeping about 4 hours. They woke up naturally for 1 to 3 hours. Then they slept another 4 hours. So they kind of naturally fell back into this biphasic sleep. that this Instagram post was talking about. And during the waking period, they said they felt calm, relaxed, rather than anxious about, having to get more sleep. And then he looked at the melatonin levels, and they also lasted longer under this extended dark condition. So they kind of the increased melatonin kind of kept them in this almost relaxed, calm state because they had that hormone going through their body. So, and it kind of showed that under certain lighting conditions, our body might fall back into those patterns. So we know that with the manipulation of our time, daylight savings time versus not traditional time, this has a direct effect on our body's natural rhythm. So he was kind of pointing that, if we didn't mess with time, we didn't have daylight savings time, our sleep patterns would probably be different than they are today. So
Okay.
I thought that was kind of interesting to see how these people with more darkness just started falling back into this biphasic sleep. So it is probably something to think about, but being in our environment that we live in today, maybe it's not something that we can do just because we have to get up and go to work. Most of us, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. Whereas in pre-industrial times, I would imagine most people lived in cultures where they were farming and uh, you know doing their own food. Work was more intense outside, and they had to work and do things based on what the light was outside. They didn't have this artificial light in their environment to light things, candles and things like that were used. So I think it all kind of factors in to what's kind of the best natural sleep pattern. Um,
Yeah, that does make sense. Same thing you was talking about as far as when it comes to if we didn't have the daylight saving time. If we didn't have the daylight savings time, just like you said, our work schedules would be totally different. You know,
yeah,
we would be on a schedule more so that fits with self-preservation as far as when it comes to growing your own food. We would align with the stars in the universe and how things are supposed to be. So it does seem like a control method so that they can have us slaves or have workers, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to call it, to be on a fixed program that disrupts our energy. That's yeah.
yeah,
That's what's coming up for me when you're telling me about this right now.
yeah. I mean, obviously, if you're running a society, right, you need that society to run on a specific time. And I wanted to pull. Can you see my screen here?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, I wanted to pull this up because someone wanted to go back and look at these periods of time. This is that one study I was just talking about. You can find the study on it, so people know we're not just making it up. So this is an actual nocturnal study where he found that people's rhythms just kind of settled back into more of that natural state. And then the second one, this is where they were looking at natural sleep in pre-industrial societies here. And they found that there's a lot of references to people having that first and second sleep. And they prayed, reflected, had conversations, had sex, tended fires, whatever they did in the middle of the night. So you can do that research here. And, I just stopped sharing. Um, so it's an interesting thing because we know so many things in our life are artificial. We got artificial food, we got artificial marijuana that you said, we got artificial light. Um,
Yeah,
so it makes
artificial times.
artificial time. Yeah.
Yeah,
And and all of this stuff gets passed on in the DNA, like as it affects your hormones, which then affect how your body functions, which then changes the evolution of the species itself based on these types of things. So
yeah,
it makes me question, like, man, where are we going to in a couple of decades if all these unnatural things keep getting introduced into our lifestyle.
Well, we're going into a straight form of slavery and robots. So that's that's
We can
that's
all
that's
we're all gonna be
that's where we're
robots.
going. Yeah, man. No, I just that's where we're going because just like you said, all everything is artificial, and our thinking would be totally different. It would be totally different if we were able, and we wouldn't be as lazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If we were, hey, our tribe is going to go to sleep, or our group is going to go to sleep at whenever we fall asleep. Okay, so we fall asleep and then we wake up. Oh, it's dark outside. That because it's dark outside don't mean it's time to go to sleep. Hey, well, what can I do? I can wash some clothes. I already the dishes is done, but I can start doing this around the. I can do this quiet thing around the house just in case everybody's asleep. If they're not asleep, I can go ahead and vacuum. I can do this. I could fix this wall. I could do something else. But now I'm about tired before the sun come back up. Let me go ahead and go to sleep. Wake up, the sun is up. Get up and do something else. Not get up and sit around and watch TV. We would get up and do something because we would have a whole brand new piece of energy. You know what I mean? It's I believe it's also that same energy. You know how it's like when you're at work, you're like, oh my gosh, you got energy when you first get in, and you're just like, okay, yeah, whatever. And then towards the end of your day, you're just like, man, I just want to go home and go to sleep. You know, or I'm just tired. I just want to sit down and relax. Then you get in your car and you're like, let me drive home. You're like, oh, make me a sandwich real quick. Or, you know, get on the TV, go outside. Or, let me hit the store. I mean, like, it's a whole different set of energy that you get when you switch from one task to another completely separate task. And taking that break to go to sleep, I believe we would fall into a faster REM sleep when you take that break and then you go to sleep, you fall into that sleep, your body does this repair real quick. You know what I mean? It does that repair real quick. You get up, you do whatever else you need to do, eat whatever. And I don't think we would eat so much because we would be rested. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, it all kind of works together. I mean, the patterns and hormones that are secreted affect your hunger levels, and if you're more rested, less stressed, because it said they woke up and they weren't stressed. A lot of times, I read that the stress that we have about not getting enough sleep causes you you know, oh man, I got to get 8 hours of sleep. That's a stressful state to be in right there, and that affects the hormones as well. So it's all kind of wrapped up together. And you mentioned some great points about transitions between one task to another, because a lot of our work is quite honestly is sedentary work. And when you get up from that sedentary work and you start moving around, it's the movement itself which creates energy.
yeah,
And that's the way our bodies are designed to work. The more movement we create, the more energy we produce, which is why things like exercise give you more energy, or things like being outside farming gives you more energy, because it's the actual movement itself that gets the energy moving around. And we're not even just talking solely about physical energy. It's a it's a when because when you start moving, your breathing is different than when you sit down. So now you're
yeah,
inhaling oxygen a little bit more, so that affects your state. So not just like how your body feels, but your energetic state. And when you go from one task to another, being in a car is a different state of how you're being versus sitting at your desk at work.
yeah.
So it creates a different energy, like you say, and it's more than just physical. Which man, I wanted to read this quote I saw the other day. My wife got me this calendar for Christmas called the Daily Stoic calendar.
Okay.
Um, so, and this quote was attributed to Marcus Aurelius. It says, "On those mornings you struggle with getting up, keep this thought in mind. I am awakening to the work of a human being. Why then am I annoyed that I'm going to do what I'm made for? the very things for which I was put into this world? Or was I made for this, to snuggle under the covers and keep warm?
Right, right.
I thought that was
That
a funny quote, man. Like a lot of us, we want to just snuggle under those covers. It feels good. I'm not gonna lie, to just lay up under the warm covers sometimes, but that's not what we were made for. We made to get up and do things and be active. So sometimes we can get too much sleep. People try to get more than 8, and that's detrimental too, man.
yeah. I have done that before, gotten too much sleep, um, and woke up groggy. You
Yeah.
know, I forgot what it was, but I remember a couple of times I slept for like 10 hours, and I was like, I woke up like, God, I gotta go back to sleep.
Or go
this
back
does,
to sleep.
this doesn't feel right. I gotta wake up into in a new realm or something because it wasn't right. I did have too much sleep. And with that being said, there's sometimes where I have to talk to other people and like get up and do something. You know,
Sure.
why you always home sleep? Or you when I'm at work, I talk to people and I'm like, yeah, I went home and I went to sleep, and then or I stayed up late, but I made sure I had to get my 8 hours of sleep. I'm like, but you didn't get this done and you didn't get that done. Well, we worked on swing shift. There's no time to get it done. Then go to sleep. Go to sleep
Right.
earlier so you can wake up earlier and go get the job done. Well, I just want to play the video games and all. Like, well, whatever. That's your life. Enjoy not getting the stuff that
Yeah.
you complaining about done. You know,
Yeah, no doubt.
especially like you can go home and go to sleep, wake up, get the stuff done, go back to sleep. Old
Yeah, go
people
back to
got it.
sleep.
I think old people got that right. Man, I'm gonna take my nap today.
Man, I was talking to my wife the other day, like, why do we frown down on naps, man? Naps are good. All right, some of the other
Exactly.
countries, they're doing it right, man, getting a nap. I wish we could build that in the workday sometimes.
Hey, you know
But
what?
huh?
I'm just thinking about it this way. Other countries didn't have slavery like we had.
You sure?
I'm not for sure about that at all. Maybe they did. Maybe they did. But what I'm saying is that maybe that is part of like some runoff of nah, we ain't taking no naps. You ain't taking no naps. You
Get
just
to
gonna
work.
keep yeah, you get to work all 8 hours, 10 hours, you know? Ain't no
But if
ain't
you
no
think
time for no
about it,
naps.
man, that's crazy from the people who set up the job, because if you get a good nap, like a good one, and then you get up, you got more energy to do more work. You probably going to be more productive with that little nap
Yeah,
in.
yeah. And
But go
like
ahead.
like they like they have at Apple or the other tech companies where they have little places where you can go take a nap. And that's one of the things about my job or where I work at. It doesn't make any sense. Like I take a nap. I'm going to sleep. But you're not allowed to if I'm tired, I'm like, man, I'm on lunch. I'm off the clock. Well, no, you can't be sleeping. Why like yes, I can. I'm not
Yeah,
getting paid for this. I'm going to sleep. I'm taking a nap. But they punish people
we want to
for
make you feel like you're weak for taking a nap. Like, come on, this is a power. That's why they call it a power nap.
yeah.
You know what I mean? You wake up with more power afterwards. Come
Hey,
on,
yeah, and,
guys.
and, and if a person is always on time and they got a 15-minute break and they just want to close their eyes for 10 minutes so they can be back on time because they need it. I don't see why that is wrong. I don't know if that's in other people's businesses, but it's in where I work. And I think that is garbage. So with all the notes that you got from this, I'm going to put it in our chat, our team's chat, so they can do some research so we can take our naps.
Yeah, for
I'm an
sure,
old
man.
dude. That's what they're gonna say. Like, dude, you old. So
Yeah,
whatever.
that's awesome, man. And the whole point of this sleep conversation with man was, if you're someone who, trying to figure it out, is really trying to find that sweet spot. Because just like not getting enough is detrimental for your health, the research shows that if you get 9 to 10 hours routinely, it shows up with poor health outcomes too. So it sounds like the sweet spot, 7 to 9 is kind of maybe the sweet spot for most people, even though it's real common to say 8 hours, and then maybe a little nap in the middle of the day if you can get one, and then go back and do your thing, based on how we're set up here. So that's what I would say, man. Find that sweet spot, and that's kind of what we were getting at. Um, and I think for me, it's about between 5 and 7 hours of sleep at night. If I could get a little nap in, which most days of my job, I'm probably not going to be able to get it, and then 5 to 7 the next day. So yeah, man, get that sleep.
Well, so there was the question: how much of what we believe about health comes from biology, and how much comes from culture and modern society?
Man, I honestly think a lot of it comes from the culture that we in, to be quite honest, because the indigenous people had a totally different culture than we do. They didn't have as much artificial light. They didn't have these modern day work schedules, which was built on the assembly line and being productive for 8 hours. They didn't have that. They were more active in nature just because how life was. So a lot of it is, I mean, they weren't sitting around watching TV at night. So a lot of it is just predicated upon culture and how to maximize where we are currently. Now, don't get me wrong, there's been some great discoveries and things like that, but a lot of it, in my opinion, is just based on the culture that we're in. Like
Well,
even like working out, for example, like we say you have to work out, and that makes sense, but we go to work and then we go to a gym, this boxed in place, and do physical labor because our jobs and our lifestyle isn't physical in nature. So we have to just create an artificial time in which we go work out. And I'm not saying working out is bad. I've worked out most of my adult life. But the point is, our lifestyle has gotten so sedentary that we have to designate time to be active when our life itself should be active.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so that's kind of
How
what I'm
does
getting
that
at.
fit in?
So
How does that fit into commerce?
to commerce,
I mean, I
how
know
does what?
you like the behavior, the part of the biology of it. I mean, like, how does commerce change our sleeping habit?
I mean, I don't know. I just think it's weird,
Is
right? Like
or does that
for example,
mix? Go ahead, go ahead.
I mean, I just think it's weird because now we create the problem of not sleeping well through people being stressed out, people being worried about finance, people not being taken care of, their social needs not being truly met in a place that truly was abundant in and of itself to provide everything we needed. And as those resources get pulled and then redistributed back to us or sold to us, now we have to pay money for them. This creates a place where now we have commerce for things like sleep. Oh, well, you're not sleeping well. We got to get you a CPAP. You're not sleeping well. You need to buy a watch to monitor your sleep. You're not sleeping well. Take this marijuana to sleep. You're not you're not sleeping well. You got to get this comfortable mattress now that costs, this in order to sleep better. So it creates industries around problems that may or may not be natural problems that we were should have in the first place. So it's all kind of a comes full circle because even working out, like we should have active lifestyles. Well, your lifestyle's not active, so let's create this place where you got to go work out. Oh, now you need a treadmill. Oh, you got to dress right. Now you got to get the right shoes. You got to have the right clothes. You need a heart rate monitor to monitor your physical activity. All of these things being created out of problems that probably shouldn't be there if we were in more of a natural society. So it all creates commerce and industry around these issues.
Yeah, and I would say, like, when we was in Korea, me and my family, we went to Korea a year or so ago, and they have this thing. It's like a bathhouse. not a unson or however you say the word, where you actually dipping into each and every flavor of the like green teas and sulfur and all that other type of pool, but it's like you can go wash up there, but there's different places where you can sleep. You know, you can either sleep in a cold room, you can sleep in a hot room, you can sleep in a cave up, and you can sleep in little bitty tight spaces. You can, you know, like it's like a sauna. You can sleep in a hot, I mean, like super hot. I don't know how people were sleeping in this thing. I got inside that bad boy. I was like, I'm cooking, y'all. They tried to eat them up in this thing. So, but they got so society is at least in their area. Hopefully, they bring it here because it's a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful system. They where you can go and just relax and separate yourself from other things and take a nap. Like if you can't do it at home, or if you just want to like a staycation ish type of thing, but your staycation is to sleep and you can feel safe sleeping. You can sleep in. They had lounge chairs. I mean, like the lazy boy recliners that vibrate, and you can go and just sleep in there. And there was a side where there's a gym, and you can work out. And then like real, I mean, like it was a really nice high tech gym. And then you can wash up and then come over and sleep if that's what you chose to do. You know, so uh, society. I might Mm. Anyway,
I don't know what that
um,
was about, but
oh man, I was thinking because there's a couple shopping centers out here that are empty. Why not try
okay,
that here? You know, so that's just where I was thinking. But
okay.
you know, so that's the way it's affecting society, and that also can help with if people want to smoke weed and they just want to chill, but maybe not have it inside the facility unless there's a weed room inside the facility to separate because you still would want everybody there. And I'm just trying to my topic jumped into my head, but I don't really want to promote people going out buying marijuana. I would rather people grow their own, get some clean seed from somewhere and grow their own and smoke their own and be happy with that level of high that you are. If you if you instead of going I need that moon rock so I can
No doubt.
so I can be totally dazed to the rest of the world or whatever. But people get their levels up so high now that they have to smoke so much, have to like blunts and do all the thing, put the whole suit on and everything like that. So yeah, to each his own, to each his own. But that's just what I was thinking. You know, be
Yeah, no
careful
doubt,
and
man.
being controlled by society. Yeah, run away with
Yeah,
the
I
sleep, dude.
mean, yeah, there's just so much. I mean, like most health things, sleep being one of those important topics for great health and longevity. It all depends. I mean, the science could be all over the place. We see 8 hours of sleep, 7 hours of sleep. People survive off 5 hours of sleep. Some people get naps. Um, I would say get the right amount that feels good for your body, uh, uh, irrespective of the cultural norms, because those can throw you off a little bit. And most things are like that, man, when it comes to fitness or sleep. So I just thought it was interesting because I had never heard of that biphasic sleep, and that's something that we all did. So I just wanted to bring it out for people who might be questioning, what's the right amount of sleep for me. We talk about it a lot at my job about sleep, sleep rhythms, and those kind of things. You can get into the weeds and science of sleep. There's a lot being studied, but I think always listening to your body is going to tell you. You'll know if you got enough sleep, just like you'll know if you got too much. You'll know if your body needs a nap or if it doesn't. A lot of these things just come down to listening to your body. You know, if pizza makes you feel bad, stop eating it, right? So
Right.
a lot of it is common sense in that way, right? But we look to, oh, we got to find the study and we got to find this. I was talking to someone the other day about You heard of this thing called bro science? Bro
Gross.
science?
No, not
Bro
really.
science.
No.
Bro science is like, let's say you and I in the gym, right? And we're working out, and we might say, oh, yeah, I'm going to lift my dumbbell and hold my arm out to the side like this because it makes my bicep grow, right? That's just something you discover, you and your bros. That's the bro science. Hey, we hold our arms like this and our bicep grows. And then we go to the lab and we test, okay, what happens when you hold your bicep like that? And then it becomes modern science or research science. A lot of the times what happens is bro science comes first, and then we take what they people just discovered naturally and put it into the gym. I'm sorry, put it into a scientific arena to study it and the mechanisms behind what makes it work. But a lot of times we put off our own intuition or things that we discover on our own until the science can validate it. And I'm not saying science is not right or wrong. What I'm saying is we should marry the two. Sometimes your body just knows what works for it. Don't question it. Don't put that aside for the sake of the research hasn't figured it out yet. Because sometimes all you need is a study of one to know what's beneficial for you. So trust the bro science your body gives you. That was my whole point of saying about bro science, man. We got to get out of here, huh?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So we'll see you guys next week. Next week, same time, same bad channel. Uh-oh. That's somebody else's line. All right.
We're out, man. Yeah, it was a good one, bro. We'll be back at it next week.